This episode is brought to you by Kia's first 3-row all-electric SUV, the Kia EV9, with available all-wheel drive and seating for up to 7 adults, with a 0 to 60 speed that thrills you 1 minute, and available reclining lounge seats that unwind you the next. Visit kia.com/EV9 to learn more. Ask your Kia dealer for availability. No system, no matter how advanced, can compensate for all driver error and or driving conditions. Always drive safely.
Say goodbye to your credit card rewards. Big box retailers, led by Walmart and Target, are pushing for a bill in Congress to take away your hard-earned cash back and travel points to line their pockets. Senate Bill 1838 would enact harmful credit card routing mandates that would end credit card rewards as we know it. If you love your credit card rewards, visit handsoffmyrewards.com and tell them to oppose credit card routing legislation paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Hello and welcome to the Paddock in the Pavilion with Stephen Wallace. In each show, Stephen will interview someone connected to the world of horse racing or cricket.
Hello everyone. After a run of cricket podcasts, we are back to the races today. Cheltenham races on our road to Cheltenham with Emily Johnson, the resident artist at Cheltenham Racecourse. Hello, Emily.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Well, thanks very much for joining me. I'm looking forward to this. I always like to get variety on the podcast. Now, I had a sporting photographer in Tom Shaw, and now I've got an equine artist. This must be a dream job, working at Cheltenham Racecourse.
It's a complete dream. Yeah, it's one of those things that you think I've said it for years. I've said, I'd like to be artist in residence at Cheltenham, but when you kind of don't, you're kind of saying it a bit tongue in cheek, like. But now I am. So yeah, no, I'm completely amazed every time I go there. I think, how did I manage this?
Well, how did you manage it? How did the job come about?
Basically. Well, I think I was a bit of a pleasant pest. That was a technique that my mum taught me. So yeah, I just kind of kept on at them. I noticed they didn't have one. Some race courses, there are a few race courses that have artists in residence, and they didn't have one. I didn't think they had one, so I just kind of kept emailing them. And trying to convince them it was a good idea. And then once I kind of managed to speak to the right person, then it was like, oh, yeah, great idea. So I was like, oh, amazing. Yeah.
So
really
you were the first at Cheltenham Racecourse?
Well, no, I think there was one about 10 years ago or maybe 12 years ago. And I think he was there just before Ian Renton came. There was an overlap. He was already there. And then he said it just kind of fizzled out, and then just no one stepped in, and that was that really. So yeah, so someone's done it before, but I don't think anyone can really remember that. I don't know. So
what a backdrop to be working.
Oh, it's stunning. Yeah, it's stunning. The buildings are amazing. The horses are amazing. The landscape all behind the race course. It's just beautiful. Yeah.
And are you only based there on race days?
I can go there. I can go there whenever I want. I just have to kind of let them know that I'm going to be there. So I am planning to kind of do some things, kind of see if I can I was thinking the other day, it'd be good to go in the trophy room and do maybe a painting of the trophy. I don't know. I've got so many ideas, but yeah, that would be good, obviously, on a non-racing day. And just kind of, I'm just trying to get behind the scenes. And yeah, but then I'm there. I've kind of committed to every race day for the next couple of years. So, which is great. So get to see it all. Be there.
And you started in October, so you've settled in now.
Yeah, just settling in, but every meet is different. Every time I kind of think, I know what I'm doing for this meet, then I kind of think, no, I don't. So I feel like I've been to most meets as a kind of customer, but you're not thinking of it with a kind of a business hat on or an art hat on. So I kind of I feel like I'm so glad that I'm there for the 2 years. At the moment, it's for kind of the next couple of years. So I think, next year I'll be there for that meeting, or next year, you see good spots and you think, I wish I was there. And it's such a big place. Like it's so big. I feel like you couldn't, you can't do it all in a day. You've got to, I kind of pick my spot and hopefully I kind of get some action, but obviously it's weather dependent as well. So sometimes I have to find somewhere indoors. So I feel like I'm still finding my feet. It's such a big place.
Yeah, so far you've had race meetings in October, November, you had half of December, and you've had New Year's Day. So where are you positioned when you're on race day?
Well, they're so flexible. They kind of just let me do what I want, which sometimes, which obviously is amazing. But I have to think of all the ideas. Sometimes it's easier just to be told where you're going to be put. But no, they say, where do you want to go this time? And so I have to think. And I've been the first. Sometimes I've just wandered around with my sketchbook, kind of trying to sketch on the go, which I quite like doing with my camera, collecting photos. That's good, but kind of weather dependent as well. I kind of can't do that in the rain. But I've been where the best day was, which meet was it? November. My favourite, I managed to get the easel in the paddock. Well, just outside the weigh room there. And it was kind of a quietish area where I wasn't in the way, but I could just see everything. I had all the action. It was like the horses were being paraded for me. So it was just so good. And the sun was shining. That was just a real, I thought, I've got to take this in. This was a real high point of my career. So yeah, amazing.
So with oil painting, you've got to be very dependent on the weather, haven't you?
Yeah. Oil and water don't mix. So you shouldn't be getting it wet. And also the other thing that's kind of worse than the rain is obviously when you set up a big canvas on an easel, it's like a sail. So you've got to be careful with the wind. Because obviously I can't have that. It's so important. I'm always I mustn't upset the horses, and imagine if it blew over or something just at a critical moment. So I'm always kind of trying to be on best behavior, preempting these things. But
do you get to mix with the general public when you're there?
Yeah, I try to. It's just trying to find a spot. Obviously, I'm probably too careful, trying not to upset the racecourse, even though they don't seem to mind too much what I do. But obviously, there's health and safety and being in the way of fire exits and things like that. So, but I think the longer I've been there, I think the more relaxed everyone's getting with just kind of that I'm not going to get in the way. So yeah, no, I like to mix with the public, show them what I'm doing, and then I get some feedback, and they tell me what they think, or which horse they think it is, or you should do this horse or that horse. So yeah, no, I love having a chat with them and hearing their stories.
And some of the work you've been doing on race days, is that now being displayed at the racecourse for members?
It's not being displayed yet, but there's lots of ideas kind of being banded around. It's a big place, so I'm hoping they will be able to we'll be able to do an exhibition at some point of kind of maybe the year's work, or maybe the beginning of next year. Because I was thinking I've collected a lot of photos and I've done a lot of sketching and things like that, and they would make great paintings. So I feel like over the summer would be a good time for me to kind of catch up and actually follow through with some of the ideas I've had. So maybe the new racing year would be a good time to do something like that. I'll have to, you give me an idea, I'll write that down.
I'm always thinking of ideas, as we said off air. I'd like to go back though to your beginnings in art. Have you always been someone that's sketching, drawing as a child?
As a child, yeah, I loved drawing. I desperately wanted it. I grew up in a seaside town in Eastbourne, East Sussex, and we were in a big townhouse, and all I wanted was to be outside with animals, but we had no outdoors. We had no we just had a little courtyard garden thing, which wasn't very nice. So yeah, I did feel a bit trapped indoors all the time, and both my parents were self-employed, with their own businesses. So I just had to be quiet. So I just used to sit and draw animals. And that was kind of my escapism, I suppose. Yeah.
Where did that come from? Because you're not in a horsey animal type area, are you?
No, I don't know. I've just always been obsessed with them. And maybe it was because I didn't have access to them. I was like fascinated by them. But I think it's just naturally in me, I suppose, that I wanted a dog. I wanted a horse. But I didn't start riding until I was 12. So a bit late in the horse world, because often people are being put on horses when they're kind of teeny tiny. But and then I just had the bug. So, yeah.
So I guess art was your favourite subject at school.
Yeah, it was my favourite subject, but I've always loved the sciences as well. So biology in particular, and understanding how like humans and animals work inside. So I did the art and I enjoyed doing that. That was kind of my enjoyment thing, but I always thought that I had to kind of follow an academic route. So I kind of then leant on the sciences and thought, well, do I want to be a vet or something like that, go down that route? But then I wasn't studious enough to be a vet. Whether I could have done it, I'm not sure. But so I was just kind of in this grey area, really. And so then when it came to choosing, so I'd done college, I'd done my A-levels. I didn't do art because I thought I had to do something academic. So I kind of did the sciences. And so then I had my horse at this point. I bought her when I was about 15. So I thought, well, I don't know what I want to do, but I want to keep my horse. I love horses. So I found at Hartpury University in Gloucestershire, I found the equine science degree. And I thought, oh, well, that's perfect. I can learn about horses. I can take my horse. I don't have to get rid of her. I can learn all the science, so I did all the veterinary modules. I loved all that. But yeah, I completely, I didn't do art for a good few years. I kind of put that on the back burner and kind of forgot about it.
I can't believe that a professional equine artist hasn't got an A-level in art.
No. Well, it just goes to show, though, I just think you don't, like people, I feel sorry for teenagers. They get so caught up in like, you need to know what you want to do. And I just think, no, you don't. Just do like my advice to kind of teenagers now is just do the subjects you love, like do what you're kind of drawn to. And don't worry about it. Like so many people change their careers all throughout their life. It's not a big thing.
And you did an equine science degree at, where did you go to university?
So it's Hartpury, which is in Gloucestershire, Hartpury University. Yeah, and that was really good. Yeah.
But then I read you went into farming. Is that right?
Yeah. So I kind of done it all really. So so when I came out of university, I loved learning about all the kind of veterinary science about horses. I loved like all the anatomy and physiology, but I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. And obviously I couldn't be a vet. That was kind of the thing. I thought, oh, I wish I'd been a vet. But you're not qualified to be a vet. So that's that. So I was kind of, and then I thought, oh, shall I work on a yard? I went and worked on a yard, but I found I'd like ride out horses. That was on an eventing yard. I'd ride out the horses all morning and then and work with them all day. And then the last thing I wanted to do when I came home in the evening was anything to do with my horse. So it kind of ruined having my horse for me. So then I thought, I don't know about that. So then I got a job on a farm and I absolutely loved that. So I worked with animals all day and I really got into the veterinary side. I kind of just like, loved looking after them, making them well. And then I'd come home in the evening come home in the daytime and I'd ride my horse and I'd love doing that too. So I loved that job. Yeah. I did that for 5 years.
But while you were working on a farm, you were still drawing and sketching.
Yeah. So that's when I kind of picked that back up again. Yeah. I started sketching just as like, I needed a present for someone. So I thought, I used to be able to draw. I'd kind of always thought, I'd love to draw again. So I thought, right, I'll have a go. And when I finished this drawing of this this dog, I was surprised. I was like, oh my God, that's quite good. Oh, that is quite good. So I took it, wrapped it up, put it in a frame, wrapped it up, gave it to her. She opened it and she started crying. And I thought, oh, but she thinks it's good too. So, and then it was at a barbecue. So then about 3 people at the barbecue said, oh, would you do mine? Would you do mine? Would you do one for me? So I just started doing it on the side of working on the farm. And every time I did one, I'd kind of get another one back. So it just kept going. And then it just got to the point after a couple of years, it got to the point where I was kind of building it. And it got to the point where I was going to have to start turning people away and saying, no, I can't do your artwork. And the farm kind of was too much. I'd kind of worked my way up in the farm as well. So I couldn't relieve any responsibilities there. So it was kind of, then one Christmas, I just said, okay, well, I think I better leave then. So I left the farm, and I was gutted about that. But actually, I still pick up shifts there every now and again. So I just go and see the animals, kind of help them out a bit.
And of course, all this voluntary sketching, drawing, painting, you weren't getting paid for any of this work, were you?
I did start taking little bits and pieces, but it wasn't very much. It was just kind of enough. I was just taking kind of small amount, and then I just slowly put the price up and up and up, and then had my Facebook page to start off with, and it just started growing. Yeah.
So you're self-taught as an artist?
Yeah, to start off with, I was self-taught, just doing drawings, because that's, what you've got, everyone's got a pencil, haven't they? So that's just what I was doing. And, if I needed some help, I'd look on YouTube or find books and things. But then one day I decided I want to oil paint. That's what I want to do. So I did actually at that time, I said, right, I'm not taking any more commissions. I'm having a break from commissions. And for about 2 years, I just went to Cheltenham School of Fine Art, and I had lessons in oil painting, like taking me to the next level, understanding kind of colour theory and all the kind of gaps in my knowledge that needed filling. And there was someone there that I could ask questions to, even like business questions and things about being an artist. And so that just really helped take things up to the next level. And taking a break from the commissions, it just took the pressure off that, I could experiment with my art and not have to worry about the outcome. So
say goodbye to your credit card rewards. Big box retailers, led by Walmart and Target, are pushing for a bill in Congress to take away your hard-earned cash back and travel points to line their pockets. Senate Bill 1838 would enact harmful credit card routing mandates that would end credit card rewards as we know it. If you love your credit card rewards, visit handsoffmyrewards.com and tell them to oppose credit card routing legislation paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
And I read that one of your heroes, we are going back here, actually not someone I know personally well, but someone through when I worked at the National Horse Race Museum was George Stubbs, the 18th century painter.
Yeah, so he was, I've always kind of been drawn to his paintings. I think a lot of people that, when I was like, before I kind of knew a lot about art and before I knew a lot about, horses and art, and he's the kind of name that a lot of people know. George Stubbs, paints horses. A lot of people know him. So he was the first one I kind of came across and I idolized. I just thought, oh my God, and they are so good. I love their faces, their expression. And he's actually, like, the more you look into him, he's obsessed with anatomy and physiology. And I don't know if you ever been to any of his exhibitions. Like he used to dissect dead horses, hang them up, and like study all the anatomy, because they didn't know as much in those days. So he was really exploring and finding out how they worked, and that's why his paintings are so anatomically correct. So so the more I learned about him, the more I liked him. And so I did manage to, just before the first COVID, I managed to get to one of his exhibitions, and I saw Whistle Jacket, the big massive rearing horse, and so that was really amazing. Next one I want to go and see is Munnings, so I've really got into him lately.
There's a lot of work of George Stubbs at the National Horse Race Museum where there's sketches from his anatomy of a horse of 1766, and he's so meticulous in the actual drawings. I think that's what I relate to, because naturally I'm very
I don't like to use the word of perfectionist, but, like really, I really want every detail to be perfect. And I think with the commissions, that's what people see in my work, that's why it looks like their horse. It's not just a horse. I've noticed the differences, oh, he's got a smaller muzzle, or he's got, the ear length, or things like that. They're the subtle differences that I pick up on that makes it theirs. I suppose, like the human face, it's just subtle things that make us all look different.
Is that why you like painting horses? Because they are all different. They're all different characters.
Yeah, and I think that's why I really push to meet the horses that I paint, because I really feel like I know them after I've done a session. Getting to know them, I meet the owner. We normally have a little chat. We go down and we chat while we're stood next to the horse, and it's just interesting. I'm trying to have a conversation with the owner, and the horse is either, trying to grab their coat, or it's trying to, do something, or whether it's kind of not interested. The owner's trying to stroke the horse, and the horse is like, no, I don't want to be touched. You really get the personality just while you're having a chat. Then they get the horse out. I do some sketches. And it's just interesting watching the owner and the horse interact, whether the horse wants to stand still and it goes to sleep, or whether it's kind of, constantly looking around. So I gained so much from that experience. And then I take a few photos, and I do the bulk of the work then at home. But it's just, I find it really makes the difference if I've been at the yard and met the horse.
Yeah, good photographs must help a lot.
Yeah. So that is another passion of mine, is photography. So in one of when I didn't know what I wanted to do, I did have a go at being a photographer. So and I got quite good. So that's everything happens for a reason, doesn't it? So at the time, when I did my equine science degree and then I went into farming, I thought, oh, I shouldn't have done that. What a lot of money, that I wasted. And now I'm working on a farm. And then the same with the photography. I got really into the photography, and then you think, oh, well, I'm not going to be a photographer now. I'm going to work on a farm, that type of thing. But now it's all paying off, because I've got the photography skills. I know all the anatomy. So I just think everything happens for a reason, doesn't it?
That's something that George Stubbs never had, though, photos. It makes his work even more miraculous, really.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how they did it. I'd love to step back in time and just kind of learn some of the how they did it. I just don't know. It astounds me.
I don't know whether you'd want to go back into his shed, because didn't he dissect horses to produce his anatomy of the horse over an 18-month period?
Well, we actually at Hartbury College, we did a lot of dissections. You didn't want to hear that, did you? But no. So I find that interesting. So yeah, I think once you've got the skin off, it's not so bad.
And that's not for the squeamish on this podcast, is it?
No.
I know it's on your website. I'll get it in now. It's emilyjohnsonfineart.co.uk. You've also got a painting of a horse with a jockey on, a filly called Fifinella, who won the 1916 Oaks and Derby, the last filly to win the Derby. Why did you paint Fifinella?
Yeah, sadly, I didn't get to meet that horse or the jockey. So, no, that was a really interesting one. Basically, it was a commission. It was a commission piece, and it was a relative of Joe Childs, like a great-great-grandchild of Joe Childs. It was their family, and they'd got an interesting idea. They wanted to build these lodges in their garden, like to rent out Scandinavian beautiful lodges. And they wanted to name, they had racing in the family, and they thought, well, we'll name each lodge after a racehorse. And so the first one they decided to do was Fifinella. And so then I think they were looking into the history, and they thought, oh, it'd be lovely. We want a nice big painting to go in this lodge. So that's how it came about. They just kind of asked me what I thought. And I think it's kind of every artist's worst nightmare when someone says, oh, can you do a painting for me? And then they produce like a terrible photo. That's like, everyone's just like, no, like that, you know, it's not going to work. And normally I kind of insist that I have to meet the horse to get the character and everything. And so he gave me this cigarette card. Well, it was a scan of a cigarette card. So it was tiny, tiny little picture. And I just thought, I don't know about this. But once I started looking into it, I said, well, I'll look into it. I thought it was a really interesting project. And I love like kind of looking into the backstory of things and learning about, you know, things that I don't know about. So I started looking into this horse and looking for photos, and I felt like a kind of private investigator or something. So I was going trawling the internet, and then there's a lot of enthusiasts out there that will help you on kind of Facebook groups and things. So and yeah, so in the end I said, look, it's not going to be like a photograph, your piece, but we'll just see what happens. And so I kind of did this kind of modern version of the cigarette card painting, and it turned out really cool. Yeah, so I think when they have their next lodge, I think they're keen for me to do the next one as well.
Now, it'll be interesting to see who the next horse is. It made me think more about another artist you mentioned earlier, which is Alfred Munnings. And when you did that Fifinella, he used to do lots of like pre-sketches before the final painting. Is that how you did it as well?
Yeah, so often I do a kind of few little studies on scrap bits of canvas and things, just to kind of see what I think it's going to look like. And, you know, before you commit a lot of time, you've got to kind of, it's a bit late in the process if you're kind of 50 hours in and you think, oh, I'm not sure about the position of this horse or something, you know, so you've got to do little miniature studies to kind of just get everything right. Yeah, so yeah, that is something that I did. Yeah.
Because Munnings was very famous for painting the starts of races. You ought to get down to the start at Cheltenham Racecourse.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. I hadn't really thought about that. Yeah, get down to the start. Yeah, I'm desperate to get to the Munnings Museum. You can go and visit his house, can't you?
You can, yeah.
Have you been there?
No, I haven't. No, you could. I think it's closed in the wintertime. It opens again sort of like Easter time, I think.
Yeah, so that's another...
At Dedham. Dedham, yeah. But looking ahead, it's the festival, the 4-day meeting at Cheltenham on the 14th, the 15th, the 16th and the 17th of March. How much are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. I've been to the festival probably 2 or 3 times before as a customer. But yeah, I haven't been there for quite a few years, what with COVID. And then last year I had an exhibition on in Cheltenham Town Centre. And so I was there, and I was kind of there meeting and greeting people in Cheltenham. So I couldn't go to the festival again last year. So I'll be excited to go again and just kind of meet people. And but yeah, it'll be definitely looking at it from a different angle, and just kind of I'll make sure I take my camera with me and see what moments I can kind of capture and kind of paintings come from it. I don't know.
Have you got anything special planned for the 4 days?
So it's not particularly. No, I'm just kind of I kind of take each day as I find it. I try and plan where I'm going to be roughly, like the kind of meet before. So when I go, there's one at the end of January. I need to kind of plan my spots, but I might go up towards the owners and trainers, spend some time there, because obviously it's lovely. It's really lovely spending time with the owners. You know, how excited they are to watch their horses run and things. I really want to kind of capture some of that. But I want to spend some time with the public as well, and like do some demonstrating. So yeah, it's just finding a good location for your. But yeah, I think it's quite busy, isn't it? So it's just picking your spot well, where you're not kind of in somewhere that, you know, is too busy. Because I picked some lovely spots. I picked this one spot on a balcony, and I thought, God, this is lovely. I'm looking over the entire racecourse. It's lovely, and it's not too busy here. And then, of course, every time a race started, like, you think it's not busy, and then everyone flooded over to, you know, and they're all like rammed up behind me, and I thought, oh my God, like, and I'm right in the way. I felt like self-conscious that I'm in the way. So yeah, so it's interesting. You think you've picked a good spot or something, and then all of a sudden, like, the second the race is on, it completely changes, like, where people go. So yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah, because however many people there's been there of the meetings you've been already, there's going to be even more there on those 4 days.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So no, it's very exciting. Yeah. And I kind of, people keep saying, people say, oh, are you going to be in the shopping village? And I did spend one meet in the shopping village, and that was lovely. Like, I enjoyed it. Obviously lovely, heated. It's a lovely environment to be in, to have like a stand and show off my work and kind of paint and demo. But I can't go off, and like, you don't get much atmosphere in there. Because obviously, and it was interesting because it just clears out. Every time there's a race on, everyone disappears. And then I'm at the plastic trying to look at the big screen through the plastic tent. So yeah, so that, I kind of think it would be, it's not, you're not getting the atmosphere in there. So I feel very lucky that I can just kind of I can take the course as I find it and go where I want. And if I decide that I think there's a better location, I'll just move on. I've got an armband now as well that says official artist in residence. That makes me quite clear that I stand out. So I found that quite helpful. People were kind of looking at me like, what's she doing with like her camera and a sketchbook? And, I could see people looking at me and wondering who I was. So I thought, I need something so that people know what I am. So yeah, I've got that now. So look out for a big white armband.
Well, the members must know you by now, so they'll all know.
I think people are starting to get to know me, like the regulars. They come up and they say, oh, what are you working on today? And come and have a look. And sometimes I've got my sketchbook and I'm like, oh, look, I've done one of you already. And they're like, oh, that's weird.
And what's the plans for the future? More exhibitions?
So the future, I'm loving doing residencies, exhibitions. I've got a friend actually in Spain, and I've been meaning to get out to her, and she's got a lot of Spanish horses. I'd love to go and see those and kind of learn about. That's just a completely different way of life, isn't it? And a way of training horses. So it's just that will be very interesting. But yeah, I definitely want to get over to Newmarket this year. I'm teaching, so I did my first course. It was just a 1-day course last summer, and so this year it's a 2-day course. So that's exciting, and I definitely see in the future I want to kind of build up the teaching and do longer courses and teach people to paint and draw horses, and just give people. So many people come up to me, they say I can't draw, and I just think, I bet you can. I bet I could teach you. Like, people just think they can't, and I think if you can write your own name, I reckon I can teach you. So anyway, we'll see. So yeah, teaching, I'd love to do a bit more of that.
Well, most of us can only sort of paint stick men, and I can't believe that anyone can teach me how to paint or draw.
Yeah, no, it's definitely something, and it's therapeutic as well. And I think, like when people go and play, say if you go and play squash on the weekends or something, like you don't need to, you're never expecting to be like Olympic standard, like, so you don't need to like, be painting at a really high level. You're just doing it for pleasure. So I don't know. I think everyone should, do a bit more drawing on the sofa in the evenings.
And you did have an exhibition, as you said, in Cheltenham at the 16 Gallery. What did it feel like to see your own paintings in a gallery window?
Oh, it was really special. Yeah. No, it was a really lovely experience, actually. I shared the exhibition with a really great artist, Andy Owen Smith, and so we did the exhibition together, and we decided, because you can kind of hire people in to like man the exhibition, but we wanted to be there every day, and we wanted to get the feedback on our work, and we wanted to meet people in racing to see what they thought of our work. And yeah, it went down really well. Yeah, it was amazing to see your artwork all up in a really professional environment. A lot of the time when I give my paintings to clients, I say, I'd love to see a photo of it up, but I often never do. So it's just really lovely to see it in like a really smart environment in the window. It was lovely.
And you were raising money also for the Injured Jockeys Fund. Yeah.
I try to always involve a charity if I can. So my residency, any work that I get through my residency in Cheltenham, or any sales, it's all a percentage of it is all going to go to Well Child, which is the racecourse charity for this season. Also, I try and plant trees for each painting I do. That's another thing that I like to do. So it's important. It's important to kind of give back.
And what do your parents think? I mean, the young girl who went to work on a farm is now a professional artist.
Yeah, I think they just, I don't know what they think. They, they're very proud of me. But yeah, I think they just think, oh, she just does. I think they think I'm very capable and that I'll just, if I want to do it, I'll do it. And that's that. So yeah, once I get my mind set on something, I think that's it. I'm doing it.
Well, I must say, very brave. You really were following your dreams, weren't you?
Yeah, and it is scary showing your artwork to people, like, for the first time. Obviously, I'm kind of used to it now, and you kind of, what standard your work's at and kind of roughly the responses it's going to get. But yeah, at the beginning, it's very scary putting your artwork out there.
Well, a couple of final reminders. I think anyone going to the Cheltenham Festival should look out for Emily. I'm sure they'll find you with your armband.
Yes, look out for me.
Mention your website again, emilyjohnsonfineart.co.uk. I'll also put it on the links to the podcast. But more importantly, thank you very much, Emily, for joining me on the Paddock and the Pavilion.
Oh, it's been wonderful. It was a pleasure to be asked. Yeah, really nice.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to the Paddock and the Pavilion.
Follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram at The Pad and Pav. Don't forget, if you like the show, please do leave us a rating and review.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? I kind of like the high five, but if you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. At ChumbaCasino.com, choose from hundreds of social casino-style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses, so don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.